It was Christmas Eve, and not anything stirred at the night. And then Robert sat down to not give a shite. Robert pondered and gazed upon his audience. Was he the one that... What rhymes with audience? Yes, this is my Christmas Eve episode. Yes, this is Christmas Eve is once upon us again, where we basically get excited for Christmas Day. Basically, been listening to Genesis. They're one of their best albums, like easily top 3 Genesis albums. Sell in England but a pound. Okay. I mean, it's such a nice album cover as well. I always love prog rock album covers, and like all the gentle creatures on them, like Soft Machine and this album cover, and what else? Like prog rock albums usually have some abstract thing, some animal on them, a naked person with their arse back at you, or some gentle people on there, or the image of the band, or the album title, I don't know. But anyway, and also some art by H.R. Giger. But hey, on with the video that has nothing to do with what I'm doing today. What I'm doing today is giving you all a special Christmas present. Because I'm gonna be talking about the Christmas classic Die Hard. I'm not too sure what to do for Christmas Eve, you know. Well, maybe I could do a tier list of my favourite Christmas movies. Okay, that is what I'm doing then. So Christmas is a wonderful time of year. I lost my Christmas spirit a few years ago. I did, but now after the pandemic and all that nonsense, I've kind of regained it in a way, because it's like, well, I've kind of grown tired of being miserable all the time. I usually am a miserable git. Now I'm just a bit like, now I'm just not too miserable. I still am miserable, and still I'm cynical and like pessimistic, but I'm not overly like, it doesn't affect my mental health anymore or anything like that. I've kind of gone at peace with like the world. I'm at peace, you know. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Christmas movies. So here's some of my favourite Christmas movies. Speaking of Die Hard is a Christmas film. Full stop, okay, people? Die Hard is a Christmas film. No matter what you say, it is a fucking good Christmas film. It has mentions of snow, it has mentions of Christmas, it has mentions of... It mentions Christmas throughout it. The only reason why people don't say it's not Christmassy is because there's nothing Christmassy in the title. It's not obnoxiously full of Christmas songs, and it's not like snowing all the time. And it's an action movie where people shoot each other. But yeah, Die Hard is a fucking classic for a reason. John McClane is probably the most interesting of the action movie heroes, because he was human. He wasn't necessarily like Arnold Schwarzenegger or like fucking Dolph Lundgren, or like Sylvester Stallone back in the 80s. where they're all just fucking just like beefed, ripped guys that just can kick your ass without breaking a sweat. But like John McClane literally for most of the movie is on the defensive, not the offensive like in most action movies. It's more of a survival movie. Also, I read a funny joke about Die Hard where they said that Alien, from the alien's perspective, is like Die Hard, which is quite funny, I have to say. Oh my god. But yes, it's got one of the best cinematic villains ever, Hans Gruber, played by the late and great Alec Rickman. Alec Rickman is just such a wonderful actor, and he gets the bulk of the dialogue he does in this film. So I have to say he does get a lot of stuff to chew on for his acting chops, and he really shines in this film, I have to say. And he does do the excellent job of portraying a evil businessman who holds a crowd of people hostage, and it's great, you know. I mean, the action is just spectacular, especially the moment where John McClane jumps off the roof of the building with a fire hose, a water hose, tied on his stomach. And then there's a fucking explosion behind him, and that was completely and utterly badass. The death of Hans Gruber is fucking good. I mean, the writing, the acting is superb. The cinematography is iconic. The jokes, like the infamous "ho ho ho, I have a machine gun" joke. The jokes are always good. It has a classic line in the form of "yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." I mean, that has become legendary, even outside of the film, outside of the context of the film. But yes, it's a fucking great film, and it's a fucking great Christmas film. So yes, I will end this debate once and for all. End of. It's a fucking Christmas film, whether you like it or not. Speaking of films that are confused whether or not they're Christmas films, I know Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton didn't actually write Nightmare Before Christmas, okay? He didn't direct it, I think. He just produced it. But it has his fingerprints all over it. Now, we don't know what we should call this film. Is it a Christmas film? Is it a Halloween film? Well, it's a Halloweenmas or a Christween. Yeah, Christween film. It's a combination of the two holidays that shouldn't really go together, because one's about scaring people, scaring the living shit out of people, and the other's about goodwill to all men. By men, I mean men and women and the people in between men and women that don't really fit into either camp. Yes, that's how I will refer to the non-binary community, the people in between. I hope you like that. I hope that's great for you guys. Anyway, yes. A Nightmare Before Christmas. The visuals in this film are great. I admire it on the sole point that it is a stop motion film. Stop motion animation is literally some of the hardest films to make, and usually though stop motion films turn out to be some of the best films because of Paranormal, Norman, what the Wallace and Gromit stuff, and all the Aardman stuff like Pirates Adventures with Scientists, and also like Coraline. That one was good. But I have to say, The Nightmare Before Christmas, if you saw it now as an adult, if you first see it as an adult, you'd probably be very unimpressed by the film, because it's a very simplistic film. but it's telling a very adult subject that some kids won't understand in a way that they would understand, which is absolutely brilliant, honestly. And it's quite good. I love the songs, even though I'm not a musical guy. I love the songs in this, especially the "What Is This" song. And Danny Elfman actually sings Jack's parts, while somebody else does most of the dialogue for him. So it's a bit weird. The visual design is quite good in this film. The whole climax though is kind of underwhelming because they all of a sudden try to get rid of Oogie Boogie for some reason, and it's like, when was this built up? When was this rivalry between Jack Skellington and Oogie Boogie set up in the film? I don't know. Do you know? Anyway, it's a wonderful film. A little bit flawed, but it's just lovely to look at. This is Halloween. Forget the fucking Marilyn Manson song, because the Marilyn Manson song can just go suck a dick. The cover of it, I mean. But the original is clearly the best because it is the most whimsical out of it, you know. And it's just such a wonderful movie to watch either on Halloween or Christmas. That's how it works, isn't it? Anyway, on with the show. Home Alone. Home Alone. What can I say that has been said about Home Alone? Well, nothing. I assume you want something more than me just saying that I can't say anything about her. Okay, Home Alone is just a fucking funny film, okay? It's just so funny. Seeing these fucking incompetent dudes just try to break into this house and getting outwitted all the time by this fucking kid. They can't outsmart a kid. It's literally some of the most funniest slapstick comedy you'll ever see. It's just really funny, and it's got a good child performance by star of the hit web series Red Letter Media, Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, Macaulay Culkin is part of Red Letter Media now, actually. So yeah, that's great. We got Macaulay Culkin on Red Letter Media. He's literally encountered the Hollywood superstar Rich Evans. Stars of the hit films like Space Cop and Gorilla Interrupted. Literally has a cinematic legacy that will last for maybe 20 years or so, and then we'll all forget about it. Okay, straight face, Robert. Anyway, well, it's a great film, you know. It's wonderful, and if it took place nowadays, if it took place in our days, it would have been resolved in 5 seconds. So yeah, because of what I'm using to record this. Phones have taken the tension out of any films. You have to get rid of the Wi-Fi or cut the power, but that's like a horror movie kind of thing, isn't it? So yeah. But yeah, it's a product of its time now. But it's still timeless. It still has that timeless quality. And what can I say? It's quite funny. It's got funny crooks. It's got funny slapstick comedy. It's got some heart to it. And yes, now on to the next film. Okay, let's talk about the next film, eh? I'm gonna talk about it right now. Okay, Elf. 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 Elf is just... Elf is just... wow. What can I say, man? It's mostly driven by Will Ferrell's absolutely hilarious performance as Buddy. Like, fucking hell. A human raised with elves is just such an interesting concept that I think was used to its fullest extent, because they showed how this human... Is that Aerosmith? Anyway, Aerosmith hasn't got anything to do with it. It can... I think the human characters are a bit dull, especially the dad. I can't remember the dad's name at all. Like, but they're not the star of the show. The girlfriend's alright. I actually don't mind the girlfriend. And of course, Santa Claus is quite interesting. The snowball fight scene was quite good. Seeing Buddy walk around New York City doing all this weird shit, that was great. And it's just a wonderful film to watch. Even if, like, the dad character, I never found the father character that interesting, because he just never really was interesting. Also, the shower scene was quite funny. You know, we use the terminology shower scene in like movie speak for like horror movies, slasher movies, where a girl's taking a shower and then some weirdo with a mask comes in and stabs her. With this, that doesn't happen, so I mean, it did sound like I was referring to that anyway. It's a wonderful film, but I have a lot more to talk about the next film, which is A Muppets Christmas Carol. Muppets Christmas Carol is just wonderful. And it's completely played straight, which is very different for the Muppets at that point. The Muppets usually, when they did like books and like plays and shit like that, something would always go wrong. But with this isn't like set in the world of the Muppet Show. It's just set... The Muppets are playing the characters. They're playing characters within this world. Like Kermit is Bob Cratchit. Fozzie Bear is Fozzie Get it? Yeah. And, oh, what are the fucking names of the two dickheads? Muppets. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. Oh, here we go. Stantler and Waldorf. Yeah, that's their names. They play Bob Marley and Jacob Marley, respectively. Which, of course, they had to name, since they splitted Jacob Marley into two characters, they had to give one of the characters the obvious name, Bob Marley. So, yeah, it's the most accurate and probably the most full of heart interpretation of the Muppets Christmas Carol I've seen. Like, I would say the Muppets all do a very good job. And when they need to be funny, they are pretty funny. And when they're heartfelt, they're pretty heartfelt. Especially in the scene where Tiny Tim died, which this was the first Muppets movie made after the death of Jim Henson. So that scene sort of takes on a double meaning. It means, in the story, it means the death of Tiny Tim. But at the time, it also meant the passing of Jim Henson. And you also have a very good Scrooge in the form of Michael Caine. Michael Caine plays Scrooge. And he does a very... See? I'm not blinking, am I? I'm not blinking. Yeah. Concentrate when I'm blinking, you know? See? That acting is like making love to a woman, you know? Making love to her. You make love to that poor woman, you see? Sorry, I just got on sorry, I went all the way with my Michael Caine impression. But yeah, Michael Caine, I feel like, was my introduction to Scrooge. And I think this Muppets Christmas Carol was all of our introductions to the story of the Muppet of Christmas Carol. And it was actually quite accurate to the original book, containing lines ripped straight from the book, which is quite amendable. Very good. I thought most of the songs were pretty good as well. Very catchy, very upbeat, and when it has, and also it had a bit of darkness. Though there's one scene that kind of bugged me when watching it. It was the scene when Scrooge is trying to plead with the ghost of Christmas future to let him go, and the music doesn't really feel right, because it's like it just suddenly he just suddenly goes back into his bed, and like it's not as dramatic as the other Christmas carols that I've seen since, to be honest, and in reflection it's not as good, I would say. But yeah, it's a very good Christmas carol, and the human characters are pretty good too, and they don't get upstaged by the Muppets either. And Gonzo and his friend were pretty good as well. Gonzo's a fucking alien, isn't he? Yeah. But yeah, I liked that they made Gonzo into Charles Dickens as the narrator of the story, which is quite nice, I have to say. So, yeah, it's a pretty good, damn good adaptation, and it's a pretty good, damn good film. Yeah, the cinematography is great, the lighting is great, the atmosphere with the Ghost of the Christmas Future was absolutely superb. Like, wow, it's just great. It's a great film. You should check it out if you've never seen it. Even if you're an adult, I bet you will love the film. And that's it. This is Christmas Eve. We've got to relax, turn down all my invites, and yeah, all that. Yeah, Christmas wrapping. Stay tuned for my cover on my Instagram, and I'll see you all in the next video, which is probably going to be a I don't know, a Christmas special. Yeah, a Christmas special. That's what we're going to call. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.